Today's guest is Gonzalo Galindo. He's the president of CEMEX Ventures. Gonzalo, thank you for coming on as a guest.
Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, I mean CEMEX is a very well-known company. Your position within it is the venture arm. When did you start doing that?
Sorry, we started almost 9 years, 8 years and a half ago. We started late 2016, early 2017, and we started as an effort to actually try to help the company on the more strategic point of view to figure out what were the industry trend and technological trend that may eventually disrupt the industry, if any, no, or change the way we do business, no, and we built together CEMEX Ventures to actually have somebody which continuously is looking into the outside and actually looks what is happening and see what type of technologies, the implication of those technologies, give some insights to the management, and eventually take decision on what's the actions we need to follow in terms of those technological trends or innovations, no?
Yeah. In your background before you took on this role was
Well,
you were president of operations.
yeah, well, I've been in CEMEX quite some time, like almost 27 years. Uh, I started in business development, mostly mergers and acquisitions, buying and selling companies for CEMEX, mainly in Africa, the Southeast Asia, and Europe. Then I was head of strategy for some time as well. I did manage our businesses in Northern Europe, in the UK and Northern Europe, and also in the east part of the US as well. No, so I've been almost in the whole spectrum of the company, different positions. No, and before that, basically I was a consultant. No, so I'm used to learn fast.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, I wasn't sure. Were you part of the founding team of the Ventures Group, or
Yes,
was it
I
operating?
actually was the founder of the Ventures Group.
That's wonderful. What was when you first started? I mean, what were some of the things you focused on, and how's it evolved over the years?
Well, when I started, to be honest, corporate venturing in the construction industry was almost non-existent. No, there was only a few groups out there doing corporate venturing or open innovation. Leave aside corporate venturing. No, you can probably name Nova by Saint-Gobain or a couple of other guys were there. No, even from the from the venture capital point of view, there are very few. There were only three funds focused in construction, brick and mortar, Navitas Capital, and so on. No? Today is a completely different ballgame. I mean, there's plenty of people in this game and so on. No? So starting this it was not necessarily easy. To start with, I'm not coming from the innovation side. I'm not coming from the venture capital world. I had to learn what that meant, how it's a different type of investment, the ones you see, the detailed due diligence that you do in an acquisition is completely different. The level of detail of information available from the startups as well is different. And the purpose of the investments are completely different as well, no? So you have to learn that one, no? And then you have to learn how to deal internally with the corporation to actually make sure that they don't see you like the crazy guy who is just spending money in crazy things, no? You need to build a story around it, a story which is appealing both for external audiences, but more importantly to internal audiences. In my experience, it was easier for us to convince people outside CEMEX it was worth to deal business with CEMEX Ventures than actually internally, no? And it's probably the toughest thing in open innovation or in venture capital is really convincing the core that you're not just spending the money that they are not getting for a normal capital expenditure that they might need at the plant level or whatever, no?
Yeah, for sure. And how much of it was, like developing formal processes versus being creative, like, finding
Uh,
supporters, finding, borrowing resources, or like,
I think it's I would say half and half. You need When we started, our CEO was very clear on you have carte blanche to do whatever you think it's convenient. But that liberty could be dangerous if it's not properly used, no? So in generating the whole concept and structuring the whole concept of CEMEX Ventures, we also spend some time in putting basic rules that will lead us throughout the 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 journey, no? And those rules have proven to be very, very good ones because it helps us to understand whether we are knocking the right doors and touching the right buttons, and help us to make some certain pauses in the process and say, I mean, are we going the right way or not? Shall we change things or not? No, as I said, the first process which has to be innovated is the innovation process itself. No, otherwise you're not going to be able to catch up with whatever is happening. No, both with the operation, the core business, and both with entrepreneurs outside. No.
Yeah. And what are some of these rules that are important that held, the test of time?
For example, we don't do an investment. We try not to give a check just for the sake of giving a check. We give a check tied up with some sort of collaboration or agreement with a startup on what does it mean for this startup to have Cemex as a shareholder. No, how can we help you improve or get faster or grow faster? No, and that means that you need to actually have a very clear understanding what those things which actually can provide these startups to make them grow. No, another example is we never invest in something is if even the analyst in the team doesn't believe it's a good idea, we don't pull the trigger until everybody's convinced. No, so that means we need to discuss and discuss deeply why this one, no, and what's the benefit. No? Uh, Being a corporate venture, you sometimes have to deal not only with the financial return on the investment. Of course, one day somebody will tell me, Gonzalo, we get you X amount of money. Where is the X amount plus 10 back? For sure, it will happen. But also you need to find the strategic purpose of what you are doing. I mean, if we do this transaction and we help this startup grow, what's the purpose of doing that? And that is something that need to put a lot of attention in.
Yeah, for sure. What are some of the collaborations or success stories that have come out of your participation and growth of this group?
Look, it varies because we invest in very diverse things. Some are very hardware driven, some are very software driven, and it's a different ballgame. No? For example, the hardware driven solutions, things related to sustainability, and circular economy and the likes, we don't pay attention that much on the maturity of the company. We pay more attention in the maturity of the technology. We prefer to invest in what we call a TRL, or technology readiness level 4 to 6 out of 9, because that's the technology maturity in which they move from a more laboratory environment into a more industrial environment. And that's where I can add more value to them, because uh, I can allow them access to my plant, to our cement plants or aggregates quarries. They have access to our engineering department, our R&D, which is more used not to do laboratory work, but actually translating laboratory work into industrial production and things like that. So we can add a lot of value. If we're talking about software, it's a different ballgame. Software testing is very fast, no? So we need to find a champion which is willing to test it quickly and see, yes, this is something that will help me. No, so we can find. I mean, we have currently out of our 26, 27 startups portfolio, we have collaboration agreement with around 18 of those. No, some of them are being very successful. We are testing carbon capture technologies in one of our plants. We have produced even cement based on solar power and solar heat, things like that. No, some of them more experimental than others. No, some others to be honest, they didn't work because either the startup wasn't ready or was not exactly the solution we envisioned it was. No, uh, but I mean, it's like a fair. No, in the fair you will find nice things or bad things. No,
Yeah, for sure. You talked about cement. I mean, that's a big focus on what you do. How does the software side come into it?
well, there's plenty of things that we can do. On the one side, we have industrial productivity, where as we speak, we're looking into lots of solutions, AI-based solutions, which can help us increase our productivity, reduce our maintenance cost, and use all that data that we need to actually create models which can teach us to operate better. In other area, in spite of the fact we are an industrial group, we have tens of thousands of trucks in the street every day delivering products, no? Which in essence we are a very complex logistics operation. So logistics is also a software-driven solution. No, there's plenty of solutions we can use to program trucks, to visualize trucks, to maintenance of trucks, to measure fuel consumptions, to whatever. No, there's plenty of areas. No, there's also a lot of instances in which we can use software-driven solutions to deal better with our clients. To propose new different designs of the concrete that we provide to them and things like that. No, so there's plenty of software play in the construction world. No,
Yeah. So you're talking about different tools that affect different aspects of the business.
yeah.
How do you prepare? I mean, how early do you involve operating groups? Do you package and prepare and refine it before you present it? What
Look,
is kind of that sort of
yes,
back
look.
and forth?
In the early days, when people did not understood properly what CEMEX Ventures stand for, it was quite complex to actually involve people. No? But of course, you have always some enthusiasts that say, "I don't know what you do, but it sounds fun, and I want to be part of it." No, so you need to leverage in those guys. No, and as we move onwards, um, today, every time we look into a startup, a solution, we always try to involve somebody at the operation. We have kind of our network of enthusiasts across the company in different positions, in different roles. And every time we need to go and ask a question, to knock the door and remember me, but we have another one. What do you think? No, it is important because if those guys tell me I don't see it, it's not going to be a successful. No? Could be
Yeah,
the best thing, the best solution in the world, but if the user don't see the value, then you have an answer. No,
yeah, yeah. You just have a network of people that are early adopters. They're or very close
exactly.
to what is happening and stuff. So within your company, I mean, what are tips? Like, 'cause, there's different companies are always trying to innovate, whether it's small or medium, and they're always trying to figure out who their supporters are. What sort of ways can you encourage finding these or identifying or developing these, call
Look,
it
I,
friendly
I
supporters?
think that I think that communication is paramount. Um, Paloma, which is here with us today, does a great job, for example, in feeding the organization with a lot of content of what are the type of things we're doing.
Mm,
You need to create excitement inside the company for people to see, oh, damn. I mean, I have this problem in this company, in my cement plant here in Poland, for example, and those guys in Mexico with CEMEX Ventures figure out a solution which is helping them to solve this problem. No, I should be part of it. No, uh, but that doesn't happen just by chance. You need to continuously send the message, send the message, send the message. No, and identify those who are um, reading about us, who are learning about us. Every time we send a communication piece, we then figure out, I mean, how many people open this, who are they, to kind of give a follow up and say, okay, if this guy is reading us, the next time I have a solution which might be useful to them, I'm going to contact him. No, uh,
yeah,
but it's a slow process. It's a slow process.
yeah,
It's almost as difficult as doing the same externally. I mean, nobody will knock your door unless you made yourself being seen. No, otherwise nobody will knock your door. No,
yeah. I about the communication, what sort of methods, are there emails, internal Slacks or
Well,
tools?
internally we do newsletters. We every single communication channel in the company, the equivalent to the internal WhatsApps, the internal digital solutions that we use to communicate to each other's mail, etc. We tap into all of them in
Yeah,
different shapes and forms. Uh, Externally, of course, we do a lot of social media. Sometimes we publish a lot of insight. Every year we publish the 15 top startups to follow on in 2025, no? And CEMEX Ventures opinion on clean climate tech this year, no? The construction startup competition, which by the way is as is right now running, is the largest construction startup competition. We created it. This is the ninth edition. We created it 8 years ago, and we run it with 10 partners of the industry, with the likes of Ferrovial, Saint-Gobain, Leonard, Haskell, and so on. Also, it's a nice event, and it's also great to create deal flow for us, great for the company, for the startups, because they can get access to 10 of the biggest or more active open innovation corporations in the construction world. Um, and great for us as well, because we can create a network of people who we can talk openly about innovation issues in construction. No?
yeah. I mean, just in a general sense, you're talking about, technologies that are mature or maybe slightly commercialized, but whatnot. But how much easier or harder is it to do a collaboration with, say, a large company, similarly large company?
It's 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 hard. It all depends, no? Sometimes we have examples. For example, we did a couple of years ago a joint venture in industrialized construction. No? It was hard because it was two companies with two different mindsets and two different business dynamics, no? And putting them together to think in one solution was not easy. No? Sometimes the problem is so evident, and they have such a clear answer to that problem that it's almost automatic. No, sorry. So it, case by case.
Yeah, that makes sense. Huh. Okay. In terms of companies that are trying to engage you, like what you gave some idea. Um, what sort of specifics can you give on you know what would be good for them to have in place for it to be an easier conversation?
Look, if we're talking more about software solutions, uh, I I would love to see them having some sort of commercial activity already. No? We want to make sure that at least there's somebody crazy enough to use the product. We never invest alone. We always co-invest with somebody else. We almost never lead investments, because since we do as well the collaboration piece, which could be very formal or very informal, depending on the type of solution. We don't want to cloud the transaction because of the collaboration. We prefer to stick to the investment criteria that the lead investor will do. No, uh, and we do it as well in co-investment because we also want to make sure that there's somebody else crazy enough as us that believes that solution is worth exploring. No, if those basic elements are there, then we start processing and do all the steps of our investment process. No, early discussions, the early due diligence questionnaire, the investment memo. We go with our investment committee, negotiate the collaboration if it has to be negotiated. What does it mean? Some collaborations are very simple. Uh, you just provide me one license, I test it, and if I like it, I force these guys to buy it. Sometimes is uh, I'm gonna spend $5 million in setting up a pilot unit in one of our plants for carbon capturing. No, so could be very complex, could be very simple. No, but at the end of the day, we try to make sure that that collaboration is formal enough to make sure that we can execute it and we can measure the results. No,
Yeah, yeah. And I guess on the hardware side, I think you've touched on it. There's some commercial activity is always good, but some of it proof of concept may need to be different. So it may be a little bit
Exactly.
less commercial, but of course,
Exactly.
having commercial activity is always a better indicator.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay. For anyone else listening, is there anything about what you do in terms of your current priorities or anything else I haven't asked you about that you wanted to share?
Sure, certainly. I mean, for any entrepreneur out there which is involved in sustainability issues like carbon management, industrial sources of heat, circular economy. I mean, we consume a lot of waste of other industries, and we can put back into the supply chain a lot of demolition waste. For example, whoever is involved in the future of building materials, engineer cementitious products. In the future of construction, one of the reasons why construction productivity has not moved as fast as possible is because we are still building the same way as we have been doing for the last 150 years. No, somebody needs to come up with a different way of doing things. We're open to listen. No, things related to logistics and supply chain issues. One of the most frustrating things that you will ask to any job site manager is what is the most frustrating piece is the relationship with their suppliers of material. No, knowing that materials will come on time, on quality, and at the right value. It's a big challenge. It's probably one of the biggest challenges of the construction industry, and we are up for it. I mean, essentially, we're a logistics company as well. No, and again, people open to collaborate with the big corporations. Big corporations are not necessarily agile. We struggle to move things, but we do our best effort to make sure that things happen the best way possible, no, and as fast as possible, because we understand that for entrepreneurs, time is of the essence, no.
Yeah, it's great. No, thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate it. And to for people that are interested in connecting, what's the best way to connect with your group?
They can always contact our website www.cemexventures.com. There's a contact us. You can we answer every single message, every single mail. If any of the people listening is interested in participating in the startup competition, they can also access the startup competition website through our website, and you can put your entry, submit your entry there as well. So it's really simple. You will find a mail from a guy named David Lima, which is a fake name which we have to receive all the mails, but we answer as David Lima all the mails we receive. No,
Great. No, thank you so much.